All right, working on the 6 fold, doing this 9-inch axle swap. I'm doing this mostly for me, but I guess it could be somewhat beneficial to somebody else to see where I got where I am. So here's the stock. Sorry, my garage is super stuffed right now. Okay, here's the stock we're in, right? So basically what I did was I took measurements and got the drop down length from the bottom of the axle to that hole for the trailing arms, and we'll come back to this. Basically, towards the tail end, I measured the distance from the center of that hole to the center of that hole, so up and down like that, which is about 9 inches top to bottom. I measured that. Something about instant center and all that stuff possibly being important. So that's what I did on when I was setting up. And so I got, instead of ordering brackets online, I got with my buddy Dave from Bonafide. Then we cut out these lower tabs right here. Sorry if the lighting's crappy. And so I made a back cap for these. Those will be going on here soon. I trusted the internet, and everybody was doing these narrow 9 inches, like 58 inches. Being that I'm not really running skirts, I didn't really need to do that, but I was like, I'll do what everybody's doing. Now, the math on my rear end ended up being 57 and a half is what it actually ended up being. Because basically I ended up chopping like 4 inches out of one side of the axle. And that's where the math ended up. So what I'm noticing as of right now, God, there's no lighting here. As of right now, you figure the backing plate's going to come out a little bit more. And so there's room if you're just doing like a lowrider or something. It's not really that big of a deal, but if I'm planning on 3-wheeling this thing at all, that could be an issue. Especially like since my car actually sits low. Like, that's the thing I'm measuring right now to figure out how much closer I can get to this. And from what I gather, so I got like a finger's width in there, and I think the weight of the car will take that out. So, the other factor is though the axle tubes on a Ford 9-inch are thicker than a factory axle, so it may not sit as low. And then we'll come to the other thing. This is the other thing. Let's see, 0.6. Okay, we're getting up in here, trying to show you how close to the roof of the floor that pinion is, or that wishbone is. It's basically touching. It's not. It's hover hands on it. It's pretty close. I tried like hell to get it to where the top of the wishbone did not go over top of the rear end because, with the rear end being taller, I didn't want to have issues with that. And it's like half of that 1.5-inch axle tube is sticking out over top of the rear end. But you figure it's got that clevis part on it, and that sticks up a little bit. And that's what I'm going to do is when I come and take this out to fully weld it, I'm going to massage and flap wheel it down. We got this uni-ball that's here. I don't know why I was so persistent on running a uni-ball in this thing instead of a Heims joint or whatever else anybody else runs. I had a uni-ball here, and I was like, I'm going to make this work. It does come a little bit close to this cross member, but not like nothing alarming. And, that cross member, it's barely doing anything anyway. So it could go, and, I could put something else in a better place in there. Let's see, we got Thoroughbros, front bushings with the threaded rod in it, and the 3/4-inch bung. The wishbone's made out of 1.5-inch dual tubing. I went with 3/16 wall instead of quarter because I thought quarter was overkill, and 3/16 is going to weld better for me. Um, and it ended up kind of being an issue. I had to make sleeves in order to get the bungs to fit in the wishbone right, which that is no big deal. It cost me about a week of time in order to procure materials for that. Oh, I am having an issue. Oh, okay, there we go. So I'm trying to get to the other side so I can show you where the real close quarters are. What? There are things in my way. Okay, got it. All right, as we slide to the other side, and I should have rolled that outside. Okay. Here's where the real drama happens. It is, I thought that I was having a binding issue up here. I'm going to get you up there as close as I can. I thought I was having, hang on. Can I get it? Can you see anything beyond the shotgun? Okay, that's the best I can do. So I thought I was having a binding issue. I'm telling you, that is not touching. Let me see if I can. It is not touching. It's close, but technically nothing is touching in there yet. You can't see behind the brake line tab, but that is not touching. I thought this whole front or this whole rear end was held up by that clevis just gouging into the axle housing, but it's not touching yet. So you can see the lines where I'm going to kind of swan neck it just to give it extra insurance. But what's really occurring is the weight of the suspension, like the springs are starting to compress. So the springs are compressing, and that's where all that comes. So I think when the weight of the car is on here, it will sit flat on the frame. I truly do believe that, or at least I hope. Let's see what else. Oh, okay. So I originally was going to switch this front to a 1310 yoke. In fact, I ordered it and everything, but because it's shorter, the 1310 yoke that I ordered is what they call a shorty. And what I noticed is that this third member is kind of interesting because obviously a 9-inch is bigger, but the overall like stick out length of a 4.9-inch is shorter. It actually would have been shorter and would have made my slip yoke come out farther if I ran the 1310 yoke. So being that it appears that I have clearance here, since I'm only going to come up at most an inch, I think I'm going to leave this dude on here. I'm going to do a conversion U-joint instead. I don't know why. Maybe because I don't want to mess with this seal. But then on the flip side, I've got to remove the drive shaft in order to do the conversion U-joint. So which is a 1330. There's a 1310 U-joint in there right now still, but it goes in there good enough so I can mock things up. But yeah, I think I'm just going to leave that dude in there and rock with it and see what it does, because it makes it closer to the stock length than putting the shorty 1310 in. And I can always change it because I still have the parts around. Let's see here. I'm debating on this wishbone whether I need to make a crossbar for it. Right now that brace is in there because, as you see right there, I cut this wishbone up in order to get the bends closer together in order to make this conversion, this transfer from up to over. The dies just wouldn't allow us to get it close enough, so I cut it up, and it landed about where I think I needed it to. So I'm thinking about actually doing a brace, but my car, my cars basically lay in place, so it doesn't really like. I don't think it'll really need it, but if I am going to three-wheel it, I should, put something in it for extra reinforcement. It certainly couldn't hurt. And then I've got these. This is what they call what do they call it? Small, not ear, webbing. This is a small web housing. So I basically extended the webbing on the rear end to make sure that we didn't have any I doubt I would bend an axle tube, but that's not going to happen now for sure. What else? So yeah, I'm still running coil under suspension, just because I didn't feel like running. It's another variable. I don't want another variable. So I wanted to get this all set up, and then I can put power balls and switch it over to coil over down the road. But I just wanted to get everything in, as it were. I have some tubing here. You see how this is not actually connected. So I'm gonna, what do you call it, deep cup kinda this spring perch. I should have just bought like deep cups and welded them on, but I've got some pipe over there. Actually, I can see it. Let's see how good my Samsung zoom is. 3, enhance, 5. So those 2 pieces of pipe right there are what's gonna go slide into that, and then grab like an extra wrap and a half of coil to make it so the springs don't pop out when I'm being spirited with my driving. I cut the exhaust off because that was hitting the wheels. So I'm going to get exhaust ran on it as soon as all this done. And then brake line. So last thing that I'll cover. Stock rear end has, let's see, three times. It's got that tab for the GM brake line. Now Ford, in their genius ways, what they did was they implemented the vent and the brake hose union all together. And so there's just a hole drilled in the driver's side of the axle housing for that vent / hold down for the rear brake junction to go to each drum. And I'm thinking about converting the rear over to that Ford brake line, so I don't have to run the tab. And the Ford brake line is like 9 inches longer than the stock brake line. And I mean, I'm not running telescopic, so I shouldn't need it. But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of what I think I decided I'm going to do, as long as everything works right. And so that's my current update right now as far as this stupid car goes. I'm going to start blowing stuff apart. I'm going to take that wishbone out. I'm going to grind. I don't even know. I might not even have to test fit it. I actually like what I'm seeing right now. So what I might start doing is like disassembling this and start welding. Oh, shock tabs. That's the last thing I got to do, is I got to fabricate shock tabs, and then technically I should not have to put this back in to test fit anything. I should just be able to weld everything up and put everything in and then test fit it like before I paint everything and, do final assembly. I'm stuck. But yeah, this is a good video for me. I got to talk out loud about what my process should be. So as much as I don't want to sit here and fabricate shock tabs right now, that's probably my best thing. It would save me, a day's worth of work, because that was going to be the last thing I did was shocks, but I could probably do them now. I know where they go. They line up exactly with this bolt. So anywhere that I want to put them in here, I can do that. Okay, that's it. How long is this? 14 minutes. I'll just post it like this. I won't even edit it. It'll be perfectly length for whatever YouTube bullshit that they want. Okay, bye.